What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Celebrity Big Brother Season 3, Episode 3. So, lot 101 in this episode, so let's go ahead and get down to the get down. So, Mariah, first of all, let me apologize because I've been calling that baby something else, but her name is Mariah. So, Mariah is on the block with Carson, and Mariah is very upset, okay? She is very upset, and she's crying, and she's talking about the pressure and the anxiety, and Chris Kattan has been comforting her and everything. And listen, this is what I'm going to say. You know, we have one every year. We got one every season listen, I understand it's a high pressure game and it moves at a fast pace and there's a lot going on, and sometimes you get blindsided and you don't see stuff coming until it's there. I get all of that. But baby, what we're not going to do is sit here and cry the whole season. So you got your good one out. You got this one out, Mariah. But the next time you get nominated, if you get nominated again, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see it. Okay? You got it out. All right? Now, here's my question for y'all. Who's in charge of the girls? Because I think Todrick is in charge of the girls. Now, I talked before about Todrick playing a little too hard too soon, and how he didn't... That I said in my last review, I said this isn't so much about who comes to the fact that Todrick is playing hard, because I said everybody came to him. So he didn't go out looking for 4 or 5 different alliances. All of the alliances came to him. And you kind of can't say, yeah, well, I can't be with you because I'm already in 2 other alliances. But I said it would be about how he played it from this point forward. Baby, Todrick controlled Misha's whole damn head of household. He was in her ear about Carson, and he tried to get her to lean towards Carson instead of leaning toward Mariah. Now, she was mad at Mariah because she felt like Mariah betrayed her. But Todrick was like, get out your feelings. Carson is the threat. Like, I like Carson. Carson, my boy, outside of here. But this is about playing the game, and this is about strategy. And if we're going to be the final 2, we got to get Carson out of here because everybody loves Carson, and he is playing a great social game. Now, here's what I can respect, Todrick. I can respect that you are separating the friendship aspect of this from the game. The only problem is, I don't know if Carson's going to feel the same way when it's over with. But we'll see. Because his points weren't... He was right. He wasn't making bad points. Now, I forgot to say that her and Teddy had made this agreement about who they would and wouldn't put up. And they had agreed that they weren't going to put each other up. But y'all know how the Big Brother house go. Those agreements are worth as much as a Martin Luther King $5 bill, okay? It just ain't worth shit, okay? It might be nice, it look nice, and you might make you feel good a little bit, but at the end of the day, you can't go down to the 7-Eleven and spend it. It just is what it is, okay? So, then, I'm sorry. So then, and we see them having a good time around the house, you know. Todrick has those heel clogs, Crocs, which I didn't even think they were real. I saw them online, and I was like, who in the hell is buying Crocs with a heel on them? Todrick got them. And he convinced Todd Bridges and Lamar Odom to put them on. So it was fun. You could see how they're, you know, kind of bonding and getting along and stuff like that. But it is time to get ready to play for the veto, right? So they draw names for the veto, and it ends up being, well, we know it's Carson, Misha, and Mariah. But Cynthia ends up getting pulled, Todrick, and Lamar. Now, Cynthia's thing is, even though I have immunity, Misha is Carson is my boy. And so I want to, you know, if I win, I want to protect Carson. Todrick, his thing is, I see this curse. Because even though I know I ain't going home this week, I see that there's a curse. And I don't even want to end up on the block. I don't want it. So let me win this veto. And maybe that'll give me some sort of immunity from what is to come. So we get into the veto game. And it's one of those games where this game would have been hard for me because it's a logic puzzle. And I love logic puzzles. I love them. I play them all the time. But it would be hard for me to play a logic puzzle without having to write. Without being able to write down, eliminate, and I'm visual. I got to see it. So it was basically the clue was like, the whole thing was they were on their way to Aspen. You know, I told y'all this whole ski chalet theme. So they're on their way to Aspen, and they are the assistant screwed up the schedule, so they have to figure out, you're going to this place first, but you have 3 hours before you go to this place, and da, da, da. So you have to run around, and of course whoever did it in the fastest time wins. So Carson goes first, and Carson got it on the first try, right? But we know with editing, sometimes it looks better than some people look like they did better than we think they did. So Carson goes, everybody else goes. Poor Lamar. Lamar asks, listen, you had 30 minutes to do it. If you got the 30 minutes and you still ain't finished it, baby, you timed yourself out. Lamar was all over the place. Now, I'm going to tell you who you need to look out for is Lamar Odom, because I think Lamar is playing dumb, but I don't think Lamar is as dumb as he's playing. I don't think he's as naive as he's playing, because, like, for example, like at the end, when the person got voted out, he was like, oh, so we can sit back down? Wait a minute, we got to walk them out. Why we got to walk them out? Now, if you've watched one episode of Big Brother, you know everybody walks the person out, unless they just absolutely hated each other. Everybody's friends when it's time for eviction, right? Then when the face turned black and white, he was like, "Oh, what does that mean?" I don't think you as naive as you playing, Lamar. I don't think you are as naive as you are playing. Neither here nor there, though. Lamar ass timed out at 30 minutes. Cynthia came close with 22 minutes. Misha was at 6 minutes. So everybody else was higher than Misha. Nobody else was under 6 minutes until we got to the last person. And who was that last person? Carson. Carson got it in 3 minutes and some change. Once he did that, baby, Misha was like, oh shit, maybe Todrick is right. Maybe I do need to have my eye on Carson, because he beat my time of 6 minutes in 3 minutes. And listen, Todrick was like, I tried to tell y'all, don't be sleeping on Carson. Carson, listen, don't sleep on Carson. So Carson wins the power veto. And so now Misha knows that she's going to have to replace somebody, because he would be a fool not to use it on himself. Like, that would just be duh. So Misha goes to, Mariah goes to Misha to try to make a deal. And my thing is, at this point, the only deal you can make with her is, if I win, I won't put you up. Well, so Mariah says, well, I'm actually more interested, not just if you win, you won't put me up. I'm more interested in who you would target. And she was like, I'm not sure. She said, well, I would like for you to target Carson. Which, of course, puts Mariah in a bad spot, because Mariah's working with Carson. But, of course, she says what she has to say. I mean, what's she supposed to say? No, So then Shayna is feeling a little vulnerable. She said, listen, it ain't but so many options out here, because you have Cynthia, who can't be nominated. Carson just took himself off the block. I know she's cool with Todrick. It's only but so many options left. And so she goes to talk to Misha. And basically she tells Misha, look, whatever you need me to do, I'll do. I'll even be a spy if you want me to be a spy. And I was like, come on, Shayna, now you're giving up a little bit too much. You're giving up a little too much. But whatever. So they make that little deal. So now we get ready. Excuse me. We find out that what the power of the hat, the meow hat situation that they have going on. No, pause. I'm sorry, rewind, pause. So Todrick, once again, he gets in Misha's ear and he's like, look, I feel like we need to go after Teddy. And Misha's like, well, I kind of promised Teddy, I don't know, because she wants to go for Chris Kattan. And Todrick was like, Teddy is a threat. We need to get Teddy out of here. Plus, Teddy and Carson are close. So it's sort of like, it hits him without really hitting him, but it hits him. And once again, Todrick is in charge of the girls. And Todrick gets in her head, and she goes and has a talk with Teddy. Now, I will give Misha credit for going to Teddy and telling Teddy to her face, listen, I know we made a deal, but I'm going to have to renege. It's Big Brother. Things change. I should have never made that promise with you, because I can't keep it. And so Teddy was like, I feel like, you didn't even give me an opportunity to fight. Like, that's messed up. You backdoored me, after you told me that I was safe. And I can understand where Teddy is coming from. Like, she didn't even have a chance to play in Veto and maybe save herself. But baby, that's what a backdoor is. Baby, that's Big Brother. And like Misha said, she said, look, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And she was like, I just don't want to go home first. Misha said, I feel like everybody doesn't want to go home first. Like, no, who wants to go home first? Nobody wants to go home first. Like, I feel bad, but girl, don't nobody want to go home first. She said, this is just, I mean, it's a game. Like, I hate it. I hate that I have to send anybody home, but it's a game. So when the prior veto, meeting, when the veto meeting happens, that's what ends up happening. She gets put on the block. So now we have Mariah and we have Teddy. But we find out about the power of the hat. So they basically, I'm not going through the whole dramatics of it. We find out that the power of the hat now works in reverse. So last time, the last person holding the hat got immunity. This time, the last person holding the hat is going to be a replacement nominee effective immediately. So Cynthia gets to start it off because, since she's the last person with the hat, she starts it off and she gives it to Shayna. And it proceeds to go that way, I think. And it came down to Chris Kattan had it, and the two options were Todd Bridges and Lamar Odom. Now, Chris Kattan keep joking about him not liking Todd and him wanting Todd out the house, but every opportunity he gets to try to put Todd out there, he does. So he ended up giving Todd the bag. Now, a part of me felt like Todd want to go home. Like, a part of me really feels like Todd wants to go home because every chance he gets, he keeps telling people, well, you can send me home, but I don't care about going home, but I'm all right with going home. I don't care. I mean, other than the fact that he volunteered to be the MC because he didn't want to, but that wasn't because, that's because he didn't want to be, do the competition. He knew that he wasn't going to be protected about going home, and I don't think he cared. So it ends up being Todd, and Todd takes down Mariah, so it's him and it's Teddy. Now, Todd, that was probably a smart move because I think it was probably a foregone conclusion that Teddy was going home. So the votes come down to it, and it ends up being, I think, 6-3 for Teddy to go home. So Teddy Mellencamp is the first person evicted on Celebrity Big Brother for this season. The other thing that was really interesting, or a good conversation we had, was between Mariah and Lamar Odom, and they were talking about Boston and they got into talking about race because Mariah lives in Boston, and Lamar was saying how the fans, he was talking about the fans, and I feel like they edited this because we went from talking about the fans to talking about race relations and the racial tension in Boston. And I'm gonna say this, and this is no disrespect to anybody that lives in Boston. I'm so sorry for I got friends that live up there, but my parents had a really, really horrible experience when they went to Boston many years ago. It was in the 80s to go see a Washington football team, Commanders, whatever the hell the team is now. They went to a game. And again, like I said, this was back in the 80s. And this is when I was going to say the team. This is when the Washington team were, they were winning Super Bowls and they were a pretty good team. And Boston wasn't a great team back then. And they literally, and it was a group of, they were all black people. It was a bus trip. All of them was black. And literally when they got to it was old Foxborough Stadium, the bus driver told them, like, do not dilly-dally. When the game is over, y'all get your asses back to this bus so we can get the hell up out of here. And absolutely, as soon as the game was over, they literally were chased to the bus, being called all sorts of inappropriate names. They said they went to a restaurant one night to get dinner, and they wouldn't serve them. Told them that they could get their food to go, but they couldn't sit down in the restaurant. This was the 80s. So I don't want nobody like, oh, well, no, this was the 1980s. This wasn't the 60s or the 50s. And when I went to Boston, maybe 6 years ago, I went to Boston, and I had a very similar experience at a restaurant. They sat there, and it was me and a friend of mine. We were together, and we stood there, and they looked right past us like they didn't see us standing there. And we even asked, like, hello, nothing. We finally just left because they literally were ignoring us. I was like, damn, they don't want our money. So I knew what they were talking. I mean, this again. I'm not saying that all of Boston is like that, y'all. I'm just saying that these are two experiences that I've had. So I thought it was interesting that when they started talking about Boston, they went straight into race, and so they were talking about race relations and being an athlete and the doors that used to be closed to athletes that are now open, and it was an interesting conversation. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.